What's the deal, everyone? Welcome back to the studio. I'm Jeremy Deal, and it's finally time for my annual update on how I edit real estate videos in Davinci Resolve. I know, you've been asking me a lot for it. Last year, I shot a little over 200 real estate videos, and this year, as of recording this video right now, I'm on number 134, so it looks like I'll be blasting by last year's total. Throughout all those edits, my node tree build has gotten a little more advanced and changed around a bit. So this is actually where you get to take advantage of all that hard work I put in every day at the editing bay. I'm gonna help you upgrade the quality of work you produce completely free of charge. No secret course to buy at the end, just a full tutorial and explanation where I go over multiple video clips with different degrees of difficulty to really show you the power of the grade I use and how I personally use it. I add on to the amount of information with every clip, so if you want to get all the tricks and the way they work, make sure you watch till the end. Now before we start, I would actually like to give a big shout out to Insta360 for sending me out the link camera for all of these edit videos. They're not sponsoring this video, but I will be doing a dedicated review on it soon for the channel, so make sure to subscribe if that is something you want to see when it drops. Like most people out there, I use OBS to record all these screen capture videos, and before, I had to set up the A7 IV and run it off batteries and have a big tripod behind my desk, but the link camera is super small. It's always there, it shoots 4K live, something the A7 IV does not do, and it has a bunch of super cool features like AI tracking so I can move around a bit, the desk view where I can just look straight down at the desk, and the whiteboard mode, which is already coming in handy while trying to build out the storyboard for our up and coming short film, Brats. There's also a link to the fundraising campaign in the description if you want to help us in bringing back that fun practical horror films like the 80s and 90s ones we all grew up and loved. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the office for this build. And here we are in the office, and I have a bunch of scenarios set up for you here. And if my screen looks different than yours, it's because when I edit on a dual screen, I have a traditional horizontal layout and my right screen is vertical. So that way I can have a big list of all the clips I'm gonna access. That may be weird to you. I'm sorry if it is. That's just the way I roll. So this is the way it's set up. Now for this 2023 method, I'm gonna show y'all, I have a bunch of different clips set up here, and I'll show you which ones I have, and they're all usually difficult to deal with when it comes to color in particular. So we've got the first situation, an entranceway that shows all the way down, multiple color tones. The next one we're gonna be dealing with is a big white kitchen with multiple color tones. Then we're gonna be dealing with every color tone possible from daylight to incandescent. Over here, we've got tungsten, and I'm pretty sure over here is fluorescent. So lots of color tones in this one. This one, we've got lots of wood ceilings, which I've had lots of questions about. Then we're gonna move on to just straight, big, wide windows, which will be a fairly easy one. Basic color toning and how you leave a little bit in. And then finally, these heavily painted rooms and how you deal with this situation right here. Now, keep in mind, this is all shot on a GH5S, so let's rock and roll, and we're gonna dig straight in. The first one, we're gonna go into this one, and we're gonna go straight into the color tab, because I'm not gonna show you anything else. We're just dealing with colors and my node setup tree today. So here is my node setup tree, all right here. Now, I don't have any of it turned on yet, because I'm gonna go through it piece by piece and show you exactly what each one does. Now, if you're interested in just downloading this node set, you can find that in the link description below, but I'm gonna go over every part so you know what they do. So if you choose to build it, which I highly recommend, you can do that. If you choose to just use this, you can do that too, but keep in mind, all of these are set for a GH5S in particular. So just keep that in mind. If you do download this, you're gonna have to switch it around a little bit to match your camera and store it for those purposes, which is why I'm gonna show you everything. Let's quit rambling about it and get into it. Now, I've got a whole bunch set up here, as you can see, but I'm gonna go ahead and start with the most important, and then we'll go kind of around as I use them all. Now, the very first thing I would do is I add a color space transform node. You wanna do this towards the very end of your clip because you want to make all of these adjustments on the log aspect before it converts it to that color space. At least that's what everyone told me. So it's actually my second to last node. My last node is Dehancer, which is like a finishing node. It's one I use all the time. I talk about it all the time. Their new update, I'm using the 7.0 beta. It works incredibly. So if you're interested in doing that, there's also an affiliate link for that down below. If you buy it now before they officially release the new update, you will be saving a little money. but I don't know exactly when that is. I just thought I'd throw that in there. So CST is going to be the very first thing I throw on there, and this is my color space transform. It's what's turning my Vlog into Rec 709, which is something that all devices can read easily and the same. So we'll cut that on, and you can see instantly what that does to the image. Does a nice bit of color toning, adds saturation and all that jazz, but this is what an image will look like when converted from log, from using CST to 709 directly out of the camera. Now, the next one I'm going to go up to is my primaries log. This is where all my main color corrections happen. And in this one is where I do things like all of my lift and gamma and gain. If you have any questions about how those operate, you can go watch some of my older videos where I dive deeper into those aspects in particular, but that's what's all under my primary node. Now, after my primary node, the next thing I'm gonna cut on is actually, these are all very important, but I don't cut them on until last because they can weigh heavily on your system graphically speaking. So if you don't have a really beefed up bulky computer, all of these should be left off until you're ready to export because they will tax your system. Now, I just upgraded my system, so I'll go ahead and dive into each one of these in particular to tell you exactly what they do. The very first thing is a lens distortion. I'm using the GH5S with the 7-14 Mzukyo 2.8 Pro lens, and it does have a tiny bit of vignetting, especially when backed all the way out to like 7.5, which is I usually shoot at. So this lens distortion, it gets rid of that. You can see that right here on the corners when I click it on and off, and so that's what the lens distortion one does. Next thing I have on here is a denoise layer. Now, denoise does exactly what it sounds like. It's going to remove all of this noise. As you can see, it's the only thing highlighted. And these are my personal denoising settings with the GH5S for interior work in particular. If you want to copy them, there they are, or they'll be in the grade if you download it from my site. Now, after you do the denoising, I highly recommend directly after that putting a sharpening node, and that is what this is right here. And this will just bring back a little bit of the detail that the denoise just took away during that process, especially considering the GH5S is an older one. If you look at this, these settings are fairly high. If you use something newer like an A7S III or the FX3 or an FX6 or Blackmagic 6K, you might not have to pump these settings as high, but just because my camera is so old, that's what I'm doing. So you can see from right now, this is what we started with, this is what we got now. So we're doing good so far. The last thing I have is a vignette control. And what this does, watch right here in the corners. A lot of times when I open up this lens to 2.8 or 3 or something like that in very dark scenarios, I get a little bit of vignetting around the edges for some reason. So I have this built in. Now I don't use it for every shot, but I build all of these in here so that way they are available for every shot. So that way I don't have to build them every single time. This is just an easy rinse and repeat process. Now we're gonna come up here to the magic section. This is where you're gonna use these according to each clip in particular, as opposed to a generalized whole. The very first one we're gonna go over is the green and yellow cast. And as soon as I click this button, you'll notice, look around these areas in particular, all around here. It removes a lot of that greenish, yellowish tinge that comes with those hard incandescent lights. The next one we're gonna see, you're not gonna see as much on this one because it does a lot of tungsten for me personally, but this is the purple blue cast. And whenever I do this one, you can see it doesn't really do much. And I'll go in detail in just a moment as to what all of these do. I just want to show you what they all are first. Now, the one that does the absolute most is the daylight canceller or the blue cast remover. There you go. Now, I've done a video specifically on this before, which you can check out up in the corner, I'm sure, but this is the one in the particular that really does the magic on all of these. This and the green yellow caster. Those are the two that are the very most important. And as you can see, I already have it pulled up on the color warper tool. That's all these layers are. These are all just simple color warps. So if you want to see how I'm doing this, if I was to just create a new layer, I can come with the color warper tool. As long as I have the eyedropper selected over here, look, we'll turn the blue cast off so we can use that one as an example here. Now we've got our eyedropper selected, come on over here, and you can see down here at the bottom where the color warper is, these little arrow moving around. If you just grab and select it, and then you can move it to where you want to be, and see in real time, it updates those colors. Now you don't want to make super drastic changes because then it looks crazy all like that. But if you make something that's a very small, simple adjustment, like this one, look at that. See, you can see how small that adjustment is that I made from here to here, and it really just cleans all that up. Now I can delete this since I don't need that anymore. Couple of the extra things I have over here, I've got this CC2 color corrector too. This is for rooms where the daylight is extra strong, and I think you'll see that in a couple other shots. And a log is just a basic log correction. And the very last thing I have in here is a center brightening node, because every once in a while I have issues where something in the very center might be dark when I have windows on both sides. And so that's what all of these nodes do. You've seen them all in action. You know exactly what's going on. So once again, if I come up here and I go before, after, the one that makes the most difference are these right here, these color correction nodes. But let's show you exactly how this works on another one. So we'll come on over here. This is a bright white room with big windows. I'm gonna come on over here to all of my save node tree build outs. As you can see, GH5S interior. I'm gonna go ahead and press that middle button, and straight out the package, this is what it looks like. From that to that, with all the little bit of work that I've done. Now I'm gonna go ahead and turn on this blue cast, watch these windows clear up. Green yellow cast, watch this stuff clean up just like that. Purple blue cast, you can see it right here a tiny bit. I just noticed the GH5S magenta levels are extremely high sometimes, so that's mainly what that's for. But once again, we go from that to that. And a big difference is this dehancer node at the end. Now see, this is, in my opinion, it's too sharp, too tactile. I want a little bit of grain and film on it. I want a little bit of funk on the lens, for lack of a better term. I want it to look older, even though it's new, and that's just my personal style. I don't want my videos to look like everyone else's, so you find your style, you make your videos how you like. This is just simply about this color node breakdown tree. Now you can see the power of it right here. I can come in here and now we can start adjusting some stuff, like bring down the lights a little bit. What I would do in this situation in particular is bring down the highlights, because it'll let you see through those windows a little bit more. Always paying attention over here to your waveforms, bottoming them out. I usually try and keep my highlights right under this, so I'll come bring these lights down even more to like right there. There we go. Nice, smooth, clean image. But again, if I get rid of all these yellow casts, look at the difference between that and that. It's just so much cleaner. It removes a lot of that color cast. Now we'll come to the one that has the absolute most color cast out of all of these, and we'll steal this grade again, and you can see exactly what it looks like here with all of these colors everywhere. It looks insane, and I'm gonna help you fix this. Here we go. Now, just like before, I've showed you the blue cast. Watch this area. Cleaned up instantly. Watch the yellow cast for this one. Look at that. Look how much it removed right there. Now, this is one you do want to be cautious of, because you can remove too much yellows and start affecting floors. So you want to pull off some, but not all of it, especially in this environment. But again, just go back between, look at this, how extreme this is and how extreme this is. And with these simple cast layers built in, you now know how to do this. All right, I don't know what happened there. I had a little bit of a mic issue, but here we are back at it. And as you can see, as we already said, this thing is super clean looking. Now, I will show you how to save these out, but I'm gonna wait till the end so that way you can see exactly what happens when you save these. Let's go on to the next clip. And in this one, we're talking about that wooden top again. A lot of orange thrown out, a little bit of pinky color over here. Now you've already seen how all of these go over, how well they work. I don't need to keep harping on that point, but I will show you how to make these now. Press Control S and that will give me a new layer. And what I'm gonna do over here is make sure I am in the warper tool like before. Press that eyedropper, make sure that's what you've got. And as you can see, as I hover around, it selects colors. So if I select a color, and I drag it, since this color is to the north west, I'm gonna drag to the southeast, and look at it slowly remove that color. Now if I click this on and off, you can definitely see what it did right here. And that's how you get rid of some of the pink and orange. Like I said, it's best to learn the tool instead of just downloading the node that I give you, because it teaches you how to correct all these issues over time and how to save them out. Now to the next one. here we go. Nice big white window. Look at what it looks like without the blue cast. There we go. Like I said, I don't have to continue to keep harping on these points. We'll just do a quick edit just so you can see exactly, once again, keeping all of this over here in mind, the histogram over to the left. At the end, I'll show you how to do everything. Crank these lights down. Boom, look how much better that looks already. Now, we don't need the green yellow cast on this one. We don't need the purple blue cast. Like, I know I've been showing you all of these on every clip so far, but keep in mind, these are built out not because you need them with every clip, but because you can use them with every clip. And that's why when I save it, I have everything turned off and I come back and use them as I need it, because if there's no windows, I don't need the purple blue. So just something to think about. We'll continue on to the next one. This is, once again, we'll come over here and grab our grade, or if you don't want to grab the grade from here, you can also steal the grade from a previous grade you've already done. Hover over that previous grade right here, press down the middle mouse button, and just like that, you've stolen that grade. Boom, I'm gonna cut down all of these to begin with. Come over here, I'm gonna bring down all of this because it's just a little bright for my liking. Cut off the denoise so everything works smoother, because even though I have a nice system, you can still tax it hard. Green yellows first. Look at that instantly. You can see all right here in these colors in particular, but it's not super strong. And if you think it's too strong and you want to reduce it, you can come down here to your key node right here and your key output, this gain right here. If I turn it all the way down, it will remove the effect completely. If I turn it all the way up and past, it will go past that amount. 1 is the natural amount, but you can bring this down to like 60% instead of 100%. And now when you cut it on and off, you see it only does a little bit. And those are ways you can kind of tweak these colors, ones you've already set up in the past, so that way, once again, you're not continually creating these over time. They're just there. Now, to the hardest room, here we go. The last one, we're gonna steal in another grade just like this. Boom, this one's hard, right? So we're gonna turn off this denoise. I'm gonna turn on the vignetting correction because this is a dark room. Now, first thing I wanna do, as you can see, I've already blown out these windows here. I had no choice on site. I've talked about this house in particular in one of my previous build outs, but here we go. I'm just gonna show you a basic edit. We'll cut this on, bring these down, bring the highlights already been brought down a whole lot for this one. Bring the lights down and the darks down just a little bit. There we go. Nice little grade over here. The blue cast is only a little bit because once again, we had to blow out those windows. The purple blue isn't going to do anything. And the yellow green is only going to do a little bit because this whole room is green. So as you can see, it's barely doing anything. But this is where knowing your nodes count. Knowing your nodes. There we go. Let's create a new layer just like before. And I want to steal some of this pinky color out of this rug right here. That's something I don't like. So we're going to make sure this is on. We're going to go to our color warper just like before. We're going to hover around and you can see when it goes to the pink purple color, grab it, and we're just going to bring it down a little bit. There we go. And look, from that to that, you can tell. Let's zoom in a little bit right here. Watch where the highlights are blown out on this chair a little bit. You can see the way everything is toned back from that pink purple tone. That's the power of the color warper. That's the power of all of these basic build outs. Now, let's get into building out this node and saving it and all that jazz. So we're gonna go to, let's just clear this one. How about this? Let's just take all this and delete it, and I will show you the node from a clean start. Now, this is exactly how I save it on my settings, but there's one other thing I add before I save this. I go over to the stabilizer key right here. I turn on my stabilizer, and here are my stabilizer settings. Now, I do toggle between perspective and similarity, just kind of depending on the situation. With every update, things kind of change a little bit too. I've noticed recently with the slower shot, perspective works better, and the shots that are more dynamic and faster, stabilize works better, but that's just what I noticed personally. You can use whatever you like, but I would advise to go ahead and build out just whatever you typically use for your interior stabilization. You go ahead and put it on here before you save this. It'll save you some trouble in the end. because it'll all be there. You won't have to rebuild your stabilization, set your parameters every time. It'll just always be there. So all you have to do is come over here and you want to right click, and I'll go to my stills menu just because that's blank, because that's probably what yours will look like for now. You're going to right click and you're going to go to grab still. And you've done it. You have already created your node that you can copy on in perpetuity from now on. You want to come up here and you can change the label of it right here. And I always call my nodes by the camera. So this one is the GH5S, and then I label if it's interior or exterior grade, and then I label it with the date I've created it. So that is so I know which one is the newest grade, or the one as I go along. All of these things get affected. All of these things get tweaked here, tweaked there. That's why I'm creating this video, because I've created one basically every year. And this is just the way I can keep it updated. So here is my actual full build out that I have saved. And once again, you can find this all in the description below. Back to the studio. Ooh. I know, the build is a little bigger and more complex with lots of small parts, but those small parts come together to create an extra clean looking video, no matter the lighting scenario of the property you're shooting. You know the spiel, use my affiliate links down below, buy some of the art if you want to help me create more videos like this one. Help me make my dream short film, check out the Seed and Spark campaign again, that's only running till the end of August, or join my members program where I drop full real estate edits and other videos I can't really share on the public channel, all about being a real estate content creator. As always, keep rocking and rolling, enjoy what you're doing, make smart business decisions most importantly. And let me know if this video was helpful for you and if you ended up building your own or just downloaded mine. Let me know in the comments below. As always, I will catch you next time.